And another one, and another one, or as someone else has famously put it, another one. Anyhow, Robin Lundberg show back in full effect. Actually, a lot going on today. Busy day. I am once again running all around. So as soon as I'm done here and I hit the end button, I will be off to pick up my daughter from dance class and then go to basketball practice, coach basketball practice in the midst of all of the work that I'm simultaneously always doing. And even may have to do throughout the show, but I promise I will have my focus here while I'm doing said show. But instead of just I could have broken off and done a couple separate videos. I figured, especially because the first topic isn't defined yet, it actually fit pretty well for just hopping on and getting through both of these things. Number one being Alyssa Thomas heading to the Mercury. Big trade in the WNBA, but we don't know what the trade is yet. So makes it a little difficult to have a complete fleshed out, full-fledged thought, right? Like a little difficult because here's the thing about me. I like to have the information. I like to have the information before I have my full opinion. I know that might be, revolutionary in today's day and age, but nonetheless, it is the way I operate. So I like to have all of the information before I have the opinion without knowing what is headed to the Connecticut Sun. We don't know all the details of this trade. We don't know if other teams are involved. All we know is that Alyssa Thomas is on her way to the Mercury, which very well likely could mean that DeWanna Bonner is also on the way to the Mercury. But what will the Mercury actually look like? That's a whole nother story because Diana Taurasi could retire, appears poised to retire. We haven't heard anything from her directly, which probably leads to more retirement speculation, especially given Brittany Griner has gone out publicly and said she is testing her free agency skills in Unrivaled, which I would imagine perhaps Griner might have the word on Taurasi, and that's why she could be looking to move on, but it could be completely individually based as well. So perhaps it's, adding to what the Mercury had, but maybe more likely it is turning the page and a new era alongside Kalia Copper in Phoenix with Alyssa Thomas as that engine, because Thomas, of course, makes good decisions with the basketball and is a force in transition. That's what her game is about. That's what her game is about. And once, Alyssa Thomas had kind of said, the Connecticut Sun's facilities suck. We maybe should have known what her future could have been about and not being with the Connecticut Sun. So really, that's all I've got to say about that. I mean, the sun is setting in Connecticut, or the sun has set in Connecticut, perhaps on that era. I mean, certainly has on the era, because Stephanie White is gone. The coach is gone. Now Alyssa Thomas is gone. Almost certainly DeWanna Bonner is gone. They've brought in the new coach from overseas. We'll see if they can add free agents. But poor Marina Mabry, right? Marina Mabry gets traded over there, thinking she's traded to a contender. And then all of a sudden, the contender falls completely apart. And now she's left to pick up the pieces, I suppose. Also don't know what, doesn't necessarily mean Bonner will be with the Mercury, but it's a reasonable suspicion, obviously, given the very close relationship Alyssa Thomas and DeWanna Bonner have. So there's that. You also, Bree Jones too. Everybody on the Sun is a free agent. So that team is going to look completely and totally different. Completely and totally different. The Mercury have that all the upgrades from amenities and facilities and things of that nature. So makes sense given what Alyssa Thomas said. If if you recall, even during the playoffs, I think the Sun were sharing practice space with like a kid's birthday party or something to that effect. Wow. And then she complimented what is offered, what is offered over at Unrivaled, which everybody has. I mean, everybody who has been on Unrivaled has had only positive things to say about it. Only positive things to say. Speaking of Unrivaled, Lexie Hull spoke with Women's Fastbreak on SI. Link in the description. Grant Young, who works with me at Women's Fastbreak SI, spoke to her. Pretty good, awesome interview, actually. I think you guys will get a lot out of it. I see some of y'all going after Grant because he asked about Angel. Like, I mean, I don't think he was saying, was Angel your sensei or anything, Lexi. It was just like, I actually think the question was specifically about like offensive boards and everything, but there's some really good stuff in there about Caitlin Clark and the Fever specifically. And I thought Lexi gave Grant great stuff there. She talked about, Lexie Hull basically said Unrivaled is a free agency rumor mill and conversation ground, and players are talking about it. Not breaking news, but the fact that she referenced the Fever was interesting. She didn't say who she's talking to specifically or say she's recruiting specific players. She simply said that she has told people what it's like to play for the Fever. Take that for what you will. And what we know about Lexie Hull and what we know about her relationship with Caitlin Clark, if Lexie Hull is telling people what it's like to play for the Fever, Lexie Hull is giving positive reviews to that experience, right? Not to mention you get to play with Caitlin Clark. I mean, that's, like, yeah. There you go. There's a nice offer for you right there. I dare you to turn that down. So Lexi said that. And she also said that Caitlin has been talking to her about Unrivaled. Not like specifically about the league so much. More or less, she said that she's excited to watch, or she's been excited watching it, and that she has tuned in and supported her teammates and her friends. And Lexi is pairing up with Kate Martin as part of a apparel sponsorship, which is all in the article. So check it out for yourself. Read it for yourself. Good stuff on my site there. For those of you who don't know, I run that site. So obviously, link in the description, Women's Fast Break on SI. And we got that Lexie Hull interview. It happened today. And Grant Young was the writer and interviewer on that piece. So make sure you follow him. Check out all of the awesome stuff he pumps out on a day-to-day basis. Even if some Caitlin Clark fans are crashing out about Angel Reese being mentioned. Let me tell you something. In a pre-production meeting, when you're talking about topics that you might want to ask Lexie Hull, I don't know how the conversation goes, but one tidbit of interest is that Lexie Hull is playing on the same team as Angel Reese. Lexie Hull being a teammate of Caitlin Clark and a close friend of Caitlin Clark, not to mention the history between Caitlin Clark and Angel Reese. There's a level of interest, I believe, from an editorial news judgment standpoint in regards to Lexie Hull being on the same team as Angel Reese. But I think the best stuff she said was about free agency and about Caitlin Clark supporting her teammates and friends at Unrivaled and having tuned in to watch the league. I watched some of the game last night. I saw people complaining about the finish. Who was it? The Rose in the Mist last night? Or no, I'm sorry, Laces. I like the end of that game because, yeah, there were some missed shots. People like to complain about it. Missed shots happen in basketball, y'all. That's not like, especially I think the way that the league is structured, there's a degree of pressure when you have to hit the winning score. There's a degree of pressure at that moment. And it's going to allow for crazy comebacks and the like because there's no time either. And when the next basket you has going to win the game, you might tighten up a little bit and the other team's doing everything they can to stop you. So I didn't take it as, terrible play or anything. I thought it was kind of exciting because the game kept alive. And look, people miss shots playing basketball. It's not, if they're taking horrible shots or they're looking pathetic and missing them, that's one thing. Just missing shots, so what? There's brick fest. Anybody ever watch a game 7 in the NBA? I mean, usually game 7 is a complete brick fest, at least for a while, because people are tense. So it happens. That's basketball. I don't think that's a signal of play quality or anything. I also saw the Unrivaled numbers for the second week on TNT. Wasn't so bad. They fell from the first week, of course, but it wasn't like some precipitous, cataclysmic drop. They still did pretty good numbers, relatively speaking. You got to remember, this is not elite. Caitlin Clark is not in the league, which automatically brings the ceiling way, way down. At the same time, it is not an established league. It is a brand new league. So you have to put it relatively. I think they did 313,000 average on the opening night. And it looked like last Friday that dropped by like not quite 100,000, but it was in the 200,000s, which I expected it to drop. Don't get me wrong, because I think that the novelty of the first week was a natural boost. It'll be interesting to see how they do as the games gain more import in the schedule, how the one-on-one tournament does, which was, they just announced the participants and the details. No Angel Reese, who played well last night, by the way. No Sabrina Ionescu, all-star game that weekend. She's going to be doing the all-star festivities with Caitlin. I'm not saying that as a, confirmed report, but let me just say that is informed speculation. Oh, I'm done with that whole thing, by the way. I'm done with that. I'm not revisiting that. Not revisiting that. All right, let me get into the comments section. Obviously, like I've always said, your super chats, member chats, they get read first. Please like, subscribe, and all that jazz. And I'll go to Kevin Zwicker first. Need sources for this live. Well, you were one of the sources of this live. I actually taking you behind the scenes. So when all this started, Kevin, there's a group of us that have a Facebook group, and we're in there. But there's now a group chat between myself, Kevin, and AJ, resident F1 expert here on the channel. As you can see him right there. And I hit them before because I was going to do because I was so busy, I was just going to do an AT video and then a Lexi video and throw those up. But I was like, what do you guys want a live? And they said, yeah, that the people would want a live. So hence the live instead. But long story short, when this channel started And when, you know, it didn't have this defined direction and everything, those guys were there for me and they were incredibly supportive. And now we're friends. And, you know, it's not just their fans, but we're friends. And on top of that, they, you know, help me with ideas and brainstorming and everything when I'm not trolling Kevin about Drake or AEW. I troll him a lot about those two subjects. You know. Now, Lexi Hull is blockbuster, said Michael. Make sure you check out that link in the description. Like I mentioned, that article is doing well. People seem to be digging it, enjoying it. She's partnered with Kate Martin. By the way, I think I mentioned that. But obviously, I wouldn't say Kate Martin and Lexi Hull have a relationship per se, but they have a mutual connection. Definitely a mutual connection. What up, Pope? Hey, Katie. Alvin, what's up, man? Does Bonner leave as well now that... Yes, I think Bonner is leaving the Connecticut Sun. Where she winds up, I don't know. I don't know. Because she could... I mean, look, the Mercury have tons of cap space. So if she's changing teams, then yeah, that makes the obvious, glaringly blatant most sense. But I don't know if, you know, she has other personal plans in mind or whatnot. She hasn't spoken. The WNBA free agency thing is weird because it's so tight-lipped compared to the NBA, where there's all sorts of rumors and stuff out there. It's just because the media is not at the same level. That's really the deal. The media is not at the same level. And it's getting there. But look, you've got like ESPN is now capitalizing on how popular it's gotten by using Shams to break news in the WNBA space, which he sort of broke the trade the other day, the Kelsey Plum trade, even though that was already out into the universe. I mean, Annie had put that out the day before. But the point is, they're using him because it's got juice now. And, you know, I think part of all this is like you've seen some of the resentment build in the space from the people who were in the space. And so many new people have entered the space. I mean, I saw a tweet about it right before I went live, actually. I'm just not sure it's worth putting on blast or not because I don't have any beef. You know, I had my little spat, and I ran the victory lap, but it's over with. Like I said, I don't have no ill will or grudges or anything. But oftentimes the WNBA space has felt like the people who rooted for a band before or supported a band before it got popular and then said they didn't like it after it got popular. Because so much of what the backlash that has happened with the league has happened as a result of the increased popularity. And the increased popularity brings more trolls, more everything. So you're going to have more people talking about it online, more people stirring shit, more people covering it in mainstream media, which is a good thing. And look, I'm sorry if people didn't cover it before and are covering it now. That is not a crime. That is not a crime. So yeah. Hold on one second, y'all. Okay. Yeah, so it's not when something gets more popular, more people are going to watch it, more people are going to cover it, more people are going to talk about it. It is what it is. Who has had the best offseason so far to you from Kevin? I mean, I don't know what the Mercury traded. I don't know what the rest of that roster looks like. You know? I'm going to say the Los Angeles Sparks. I think the Sparks put themselves into the playoffs. They added star power to go with what they already had, veteran to add to that. As far as like which team will be boosted the most from what's happened, I think the Los Angeles Sparks so far. Charlotte says hello to Kevin. Michael with a compliment. That's why I watch your content. Always thoughtful and balanced views. Thank you. We'll need to change the name to the Jurassic Mercury. Well, again, I think it's unlikely that Diana Taurasi is going to be there. I think the chances that Brittany Griner are there, who is a free agent, are not great either. Peggy says, I think they're going after draft picks. Is that in regards to the Mercury? The Sun, I'm sure of it. I would have to imagine that deal was built around draft picks. I had to guess. I don't know. It's very rare you see a report like that without any of the other details. I mean, usually like sometimes they'll trickle in, but you usually have the substance of what it was. Like, for instance, when the first, shoe dropped on the Plum deal, we knew Plum was going to Los Angeles, Jewel Lloyd was going to Las Vegas, and the number 2 pick was going to Seattle. And then we found out some of the other pick swaps, the other player from LA that was going, stuff like that, but that was added in. This one's strange because we don't know at all what's coming back to Connecticut. Not a thing. Thank you, Peggy. Lindy Smallwood says, I remember an interview with Bonner when asked about next season. She said she's tired, not sure when she's coming back. We shall see. Rostam says 5.5 hours from Malaysia. Is that where you're watching from? Or are you a fan of Malaysia for Wiley? Oh, I hope they swap Bree Jones for Melissa Smith. Let's hope so. That'd be damn cool. I mean, there's lots of rumors out there, Lisa. I'm not going to, I'll give you the tea on what I know to be or what I think is reputable, not just random rumors. There's that account that's out there right now. I've seen it, that Annie's Tea account that has nothing to do with Annie Costable. It's just randomly putting stuff out there all day, seeing what sticks, I think. I mean, who knows? Maybe it could have insight, I guess. But if you see stuff from an account like that, I'm not going to go with that. Or what a random YouTuber says. So many of these people have come up to me like, is it true that Angel Reese was suspended for steroid? No. Is it true that the Fever have signed Kelsey Plum? No. Like, I don't know where these YouTubers get off just putting anything out there. But I've seen, like, it's pretty crazy because literally I had my entire video stolen. There's a TikTok account. I don't know if it's still up. I haven't checked. But there's a TikTok account, that was just me. Like, they were doing the editing work. And that's one of the things I got to do. If you guys know, eventually I should do a graphics package and I should get a social media team and an editor and, go to the moon here. So any ideas, I'm open to that. But my point was that this TikTok account was all my takes. They were doing my work for me as far as like cutting pieces from the show and posting them, but it wasn't my channel. It was them not quite pretending to be me, but basically in a sense. And then this YouTube account literally took one of my videos, put an effect on my voice, and put it under covers so that you couldn't see me, and just re-uploaded it. Same video. Problems with free agents, said Peggy. What do you mean problems with free agents? I'm not quite sure what you mean. You don't have to do another super chat. Just write another chat, Peggy, and I will follow up on that. Get back to where I was in the chat. Otherwise, it's a great facility in Phoenix, says Marlene Smith. Frequent contributor to the channel. Yes. I mean, Matt Ishbia, say what you want about him and some of the moves they've made, I guess, with the Suns, but, they certainly go for it and they certainly invest. Fever looking for fast-paced players. That would make sense. My biggest fan says they will not be watching. They were on a work trip in Vegas, and yesterday, same thing. By the way, so my biggest fan is not my friend Dan, even though they said they're my friend Dan. So they know that my friend is Dan, but they're not him because I asked him. So I don't know who this is. On a work trip in Vegas. I thought it was one of my son's friends, but that's a pretty good alibi for being a child. We'll get to the bottom of it one day. Super sticker from Marlene. Thank you, Marlene. Appreciate any and all contributions. I still got some time, y'all. I got about what time does she got to be at dance? She got to be at dance at 6. So yeah, I got at least another half hour here to rock. DJ Mel says the fever is free of Alyssa Thomas and Bonner. Now I can breathe. Max says you got an interview with Lexi. I did not do the interview. Grant did the interview specifically, but yes, my site, Women's Fastbreak on SI, has the interview with Lexie Hull. Check that out in the description. There is no news on free agency with the Fever. I mean, I wish I had it for you, but I don't. There's just no news. I mean, I guess the biggest bit of news would be what Lexie Hull said, which is not news. But here was her exact quote from that article. So about free agency, it's honestly the perfect place for that to happen and the perfect time for that to happen. It's pretty fun to be in the locker room, be in the training room, and those conversations are happening every day. People just talking about, well, where do you think so-and-so is going to go? So it's cool to hear the back end of things that you wouldn't necessarily hear. And on the recruiting side, it's just building those relationships with players and sharing what it's like to play with the Fever. I've talked to some girls. They've asked what it's like in Indiana, and I'll tell them. Hopefully that has a positive reflection, and they'll be excited about potentially playing for the Fever one day. Those were her quotes. Fun fact, not relating to anything. DJ Mustard's real name is Dijon McFarland. Mustard! You hear that at the Super Bowl, y'all. My kids are excited for that song. Turn his TV off. Turn his TV off. Oh, here we go. Looks like we might have the details of the trade. Looking them up right now, guys. Hold on. Let me just confirm before I say this. All right, this is according to the next. Let me see if this is right. Let me just the next hoops, which is I think Howard Megdal's site. Yes. Bonus episode. Multiple league sources per Howard Megdal saying that Natasha Cloud, Rebecca Allen, and what would be the 12th overall pick in the draft would be heading to Connecticut. So there you have that. AJ Shriver says, WNBA offseason has been exciting. Almost think league management asked the players and teams to stir the pot a bit to keep things relevant in the offseason. So I talked to Alex Bizel, the president of Unrivaled, and he said they're not asking anybody to do anything specifically, but he does think part of the thing is they have investment in Unrivaled. So the more that Unrivaled succeeds or is talked about, the more, attention that comes that way. Eric says Angel and Lexi seem to get along great. They sit next to each other and are always encouraging each other. It's nice. Yeah, look, I mean, it's just basketball, y'all. Kent Carlson says, everyone, why loser Reese not doing the 1v1 because she sucks so bad? If I had to guess, Angel Reese is not doing the 1-on-1 because she'll be at All-Star Weekend. That's my guess. Not because of that, what you're saying there. The same as Sabrina's going to be at All-Star Weekend. The 1-versus-1 tournament is happening around NBA All-Star Weekend. By the way, that'll also be the week that I'm out. I'll have my stuff with me just in case, but I'm going on a cruise with my family, and I've been working for a year straight. I've been working for a year straight. What was that? You love me, buddy? Come here. That was so nice. Stop. Come here. You can come say hello. Go ahead. Sit in my chair. So I hear "I love you, Daddy" from outside and I couldn't resist. This is Big Ro. Say hello, Big Ro.
Hi.
What happened to your face?
I colored it.
You colored it? You can come say hi, Raj. And Raj, promote your channel. This is Butters.
Hi. Do.
All right, Ron. Now
I hate you.
No, don't say I love you.
I hate you too.
No, I love you.
I love you.
Or you want to yell mustard? You can yell mustard.
Mustard.
All right, now you got to get out of here. Go. You want to say hi and promote your channel? Go ahead real quick.
Subscribe to Watch Talk.
Don't yell it. Enunciate your words, okay? Say, hey, it's Raj. Subscribe to Raj Talk.
Hey, it's Raj. Subscribe to Watch Talk.
All right, now get out of here and take Butters.
I think
Love you guys.
I'll be able to go to practice, but if I need a break, can I just sit out?
Of course. No, all right. Oh, you want water? Yeah. apologies for the interruption. And back to our regularly scheduled programming here. Kevin says the TikTok was me, and it was me all along. Also, oh yeah, the TikTok that is posing as me, sort of. I like a little low. Sorry, that's tough for me to spit out. I like how the article mentions how the coaching staff are coming to Miami soon. Yeah, Lexie Hull says that about Stephanie White and company coming to Miami soon in the piece. Again, link in the description. BB Still Clocks T says, what if AT gets traded for BG? Look, I don't think that's going to happen because BG's actually just a free agent. So I don't think that's the case. Albert Jimenez, the Phoenix Mercury are building a beautiful retirement community, LOL. Slow Pat, thanks Kevin and AJ for the live. No, Kate and Lexi didn't do a podcast. They're partnered up in an apparel deal. Mumala 101, 1 versus 1 Unrivaled tournament announced. Reese is one of the few not participating. Yep. See, Kono says, great conversations in the chat. Thanks for the live. Martell, it looks like Natasha Cloud in the 12th pick, more or less. Rebecca Allen in the 12th pick. Cloud Allen in 12th pick. Michael Gold says, good afternoon, Robin. Always doing a good job. They're talking Brittany to Vegas. Yeah, that was in the ESPN piece. So that's one of the reasons I think you've seen that speculation very well could happen. Hey, Robin, who would win a WNBA Royal Rumble? I would give Alyssa Thomas a good chance. I think that she probably would be my pick. Sorry, trying to work through all these comments. There are a lot of them, so it's never easy. I don't know what the thumbs up numbers are supposed to be, but thumbs up, please. Click, like, subscribe, all that stuff. I don't know if that says something about me. Dennis Lee says you can't just trust any YouTube video you see, correct? Basil says you got lucky today, Robin. Had to listen to you while in the car and unable to respond. Yes, I saw the Unrivaled numbers. They were somewhere in the 200,000s. I don't have exactly, but from Friday night. So what I was looking for was the most apples to apples comparison, which is Friday to Friday. Wait, Industry again says, LOL, sorry, Robin. There's a video with your face saying Reese has been expelled from Unrivaled for some discipline issues. You mean they like put me in the thumbnail so it made it look like it was credible, or what? Or are you joking? Because there's definitely not a video with me saying that. Marlene says he is adorable. Must be talking about Rohan. Rohan, MP, adorable kids. Well done. Thank you. He did just color his face. Thank you all for these kind words about them. Hi, Raj. That's Raj's channel. Oh, Raj, you still there? The Big Bang Theory is really popular. Who knew? It's like so popular. I just saw a comment I wanted to put on screen. Eric says that Basil is definitely the most improved chatter here. So glad Robin didn't ban him. I think like that shows you I can, take it and I'm not too sensitive, right? The way I put up with his stuff for a while there. But he makes it entertaining. We're all good. We are all good. Salute to the Sparks would be great for both. That's interesting. Tulip plays. That is interesting. They could use a guard, a lead guard. I know that Chicago was meeting with Courtney Vandersloot as well. Okay. Sorry. Where are we at in this chat now? Sports Talk and Capital Walk. This is fun. I'm loving my first free agency as a fan. Yeah, I mean, like, free agency's fun, no doubt. And it lends itself to speculation. Obviously, you see players changing teams, player movement always excites fans. All that stuff is exciting for people for sure. Thank you, Eric. Everyone hit the like button, subscribe, all that. Charlotte Berryman, I find this free agency thing a nervous wreck. I'm afraid the Fever won't get something good. Again, I don't think the Fever have to hit a home run. I think they just need to get on base. So I would take some deep breaths in that regard. If the Fever don't get Satu Sabali, let's say it's not a failure. In fact, it seems like the writing might be on the wall for the Liberty getting Satu Sabali at this point. Katie says, I'm ready for the first Fever news to hit. Excited to see what they did do. It's coming soon enough. This is wild. They really did that? It's crazy what people will do on the internet, for real. Sure. Emma Mieseman would be a great fit on the Fever. Gabby Williams is expected to be on the Storm, but would be another good fit. Natasha Howard is a nice pickup for the Fever as well. Those are just a few names for you. KD says, I got blocked today on X by the same girl that blocked you for the speculation. LOL. It made me giggle. All I did was push back on her because she was calling out new YouTubers talking about the W. Funny. Yeah, look, for her to block you, you don't seem very blockable, KD. I don't know. I'm done with that. Like I said, though, I got no beef. I didn't like having my credibility questioned for no reason, in a sense, I guess. And it turned out, I was totally correct and all that. So, and I didn't even need to be correct for it to be fine. So I did do, a little victory lap, like I said, but I'm not going to keep digging and digging. I mean, I saw the, what was the post? I'll put it up. Screw it. There's no downside. I'm just not trying to air nobody out. Like I got no beef with these people, right? Like any of them or anybody out there. I'm not trying to, where is it? Yeah. So I saw this post right before I got on, and I don't know what it's in reference to specifically, so I don't want to, but let me go down the timeline. She knows sports, wrote, I'm just going to say it because F it. I'm annoyed that folks who never cared about covering the W are all of a sudden making their business to step into the space. Before now, WNBA coverage was beneath them and didn't pay enough. Now these same people leading breaking news, a joke, but go off. So I'm not sure if she's referring to like what's happened with Shams at ESPN or people like me. I'm not sure. And I understand that there were people in the space before. And Terica, I've seen at games before, if that's how you pronounce her name. We've like walked by each other and done that, but I don't know her. So this isn't about her specifically. It's just one. Let's take the Shams ESPN thing for a second. ESPN wants to capitalize on the WNBA momentum. They broadcast WNBA games. So if Shams is doing it, it's not because he's like stepping on the WNBA space. I'm imagining as much as that's a concerted effort between him and his employer. Some of the other people, yeah, a lot of people have started covering the league because it got more popular. That's just the way it works. I didn't know who Taylor Swift was before Kanye. Now Taylor Swift is the biggest pop artist, music star in the world. There were people who weren't covering Taylor Swift then who are covering now. She wasn't on People magazine well, she probably was, but you know what I mean? Like it wasn't the Super Bowl level coverage. That's just the breaks. And what I say all the time about the quality of the league before, more and more people are recognizing the players who were there before now because of this, right? Like because of this. But at the same time, it just wasn't popular. I mean, there's no other way to put it. It was not, it may have been growing some, but the explosion happened because of Caitlin Clark. And so many people were resistant to that and almost offended by that instead of embracing that. And still you see it. And yes, a lot of new people came in with Caitlin Clark and the Fever and that explosion. That is 100% fact, truth. A lot of new people came in who weren't there before. True. I'm a basketball and hoops head. I didn't follow the W like that. I knew some, had watched some, but I didn't follow it like that. I know basketball. And I decided to completely pivot. Which, if it doesn't show you faith in something, and then I decided to try to use my platform to, I had that central force and building around it, which then again builds up everybody. And which is what you've seen. Like now think about the number of players in Unrivaled that people know now who they didn't know before. Or the profile of Asia Wilson, how much that's been raised. There's so many different examples. College basketball and the profiles of the girls now, like Juju and Hannah and Paige, and so on and so forth. So much of that. And yeah, the networks are going to want to cover it, and they're going to put some of their more high profile people on it. I do hope that the people who put the work in and are good get their opportunities. That's fair. That's a fair ask. Like, people who have been there and done it and are good at what they do should get an opportunity. They should be rewarded for the legwork that they did. But, and this is not applying to anybody specifically, so please don't get it twisted, but just being there ain't good enough. And a lot of the people who were just there and have just been there have put out a resentful attitude, which doesn't help the reception they're getting from new fans. And the new fans are the ones who are going to drive the business, because there are more of them. There are simply way more new people who have come in than people that were there before. Fans, media, that applies to everything. And the new ones are the ones who are going to drive it, because they have the advantage of numbers, volume. Who would be a good person to have a conversation? That's an interesting, like, separate episode. Like, who's the perfect person to represent and have a good conversation with me that was more entrenched longer, to represent that side of things? I think that would be an interesting show. Brainstorm that. Just a Kid from Brooklyn says, I'm late to the chat, but Aaliyah Boston seems to be getting into great basketball shape. Pharaoh X is a big Gamecocks fan. Look, South Carolina is better than everybody but, like, Notre Dame and UCLA, maybe. They're. What I found was interesting is UConn's actually number 2 in the net rankings. So the data likes them for some reason. Ernesto, sorry I'm late to the party. What up, Robin? Rebecca Lobo, by the way. Look, Rebecca's mad cool. Rebecca, I don't know if she watches on YouTube or anything, but she's a fan of, like, short form stuff I do. She's told me. I got to meet her at one of the games in New York. Art Dog, Old Guard needs to get with it and stop whining. Pat Gray says, Howard Megdal reporting cloud. Rebecca Allen, 12th pick to the Sun in the AT trade. Yep, I shouted that out earlier. Am I ever going to give up on Polar? I mean, I kind of like the bit, but maybe. You know what I need to? I'll give up on it when someone actually sponsors me. And I now have enough viewership where somebody should sponsor me. So any salespeople listening? We got any? If you're a sales, this is honest to goodness, a genuine offer. If you're a salesperson listening and you think you can parlay the viewership numbers and because this stream, I'll tell you right now, like, and this is just for a live, we has already had a couple thousand views. We've had many streams recently that are more than 1,000 concurrent views. Then there's obviously everything else I'm putting up on the channel and the which gets good traction. I could give you the exact numbers on a separate phone call, but if anybody is interested in looking for sponsors and there's a salesperson, we could work out a commission deal. And it's up to me to just do it myself too. Don't get me wrong. I'm not. I've done a whole lot of this myself. It never hurts to have help, is all I'm saying. People seem to really love Keto loves sports. So let me shout her out. You guys seem to really like her. I got to go watch. Well, that's the point, Ernesto. Anybody who's going to do any work for me is getting compensated for it. Other than like Kevin and AJ, like we're brainstorming and have fun in the group chat, but like actual work, you will get compensated for it. I'm not doing anything and not paying somebody for it, their work. Local place, someplace in Jersey. Good idea. Does anybody else get spam calls like all the time? I need to change my number. All right, y'all. I am going to have to wind down here in a second because I do have to do all the things that I have to do. So any last minute comments, please get them in. I will get them in before I wrap up the festivities here. Because like I said, I have to get to dance class and I have to get to basketball practice. Any other questions? I'm doing my best. Make sure you like, subscribe, thumbs up, all that stuff. Sil says thank you. As I always say, thank you to you guys. Thank Kevin and AJ for this live happening today. If you really want to thank anybody, they are most responsible for this one. And with that, I'm out. Till next time, y'all. Eat.